Okay, we're back talking about Jonathan Edwards. Edwards is a pastor who was trying to help folks process what had gone on in a recent revival. And he was helping them think, they would come into his office, they would say, Pastor Edwards, I have certain things that are happening, and I know, because these things have happened, I know that I have really been born again. And Edwards was helping them process this. And the question in number 6 that comes, that Edwards addresses is, someone says, I know that I'm born again because there seems to be so much love in my life. And this one we might think, now Edwards is definitely going to say this is a great one. He's going to say there's no problem with love. I mean, love is a great thing. And Edwards begins by saying, love is one of the chief gifts of God's grace. It really is wonderful. When God gives us love, it's a wonderful thing. And we ought to think that chiefly among the things that God does in our life when we are born again is He gives us love. We might say the two greatest commandments, they are the two greatest commandments, are love God and love neighbor. And so He is certainly in favor of love, and yet He wants people to pause and think and reflect and maybe examine love a bit. And the reason is because He knows that the most valuable things are the things most likely to be counterfeited. Just like people will have counterfeit gold, or they will have counterfeit precious jewels. Because they're valuable, some people will try to counterfeit it and make it appear as the real thing when it's not the real thing. And we might expect then, with love being so valuable as it is, that Satan might try to make it appear genuine when it is not. And so he wants people to think and stop to think, maybe you should examine this love. And there's a couple of ways along that line that he helps people think, and one of them is that sometimes love can be present, and yet love will not endure. So, for instance, in Matthew 24, Jesus speaks and says that in time, the love of some may grow cold. And the idea is that, as a matter of fact, some do have love, and in this case, we might even say, really are loving, and yet that love can grow cold. And so the idea then is that the love might be there, but it's not the sort of thing that demonstrates true saving faith, because it in fact does in time grow cold. Or again, in Ephesians chapter 6, he writes of those and especially commends those who love with sincerity. Isn't that interesting? What by using the word sincerity, he's basically saying there is such a thing as insincere love. It's love, but it's insincere love. And so he commends a particular kind of love, and then he basically warns or acknowledges that there is such a thing as insincere love. And so again, Edwards' point isn't here to say love is a bad thing, or love doesn't tell us anything. He is here to say, examine the love, think about the love. Don't just basely and quickly say, well, there's love there, so that's definitely a good thing, and now let's go do something else. But rather to perhaps reflect a bit on the love, examine the love a bit, see if it endures over time, and see if it also seems to be sincere. And there'll be many other things he'll say about it throughout the book, but here he's just sort of putting in somebody's mind, maybe, just maybe, you should be careful as you think about the fact that love is present in your life.